Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. The countdown to Election Day is on.
And President Donald Trump is making one last-ditch effort to try to push GOP candidates into office. Now, Trump has a busy schedule this weekend as we are less than a week away from midterm elections.
Nicole Killian has more from the White House.
President Donald Trump continued campaign stumping across the country Friday with stops in West Virginia.
Hello, West Virginia, what a place.
And Indiana.
You people are energized.
The president touted economic successes.
More Americans are working right now today in this country than have ever worked in this country before.
And he continued to hammer one of his top issues, illegal immigration.
Democrats want to totally open the borders. They have the caravans. Let them in. Do you want to let them in? Does anybody want to let them right in?
The Trump administration has authorized thousands of troops to go to the U.S.-Mexico border to intercept migrant caravan groups. And the president has drawn criticism for saying he would sign an executive order to strip away the 14th Amendment's guarantee of birthright citizenship for children born to illegal immigrants on U.S. soil. Former President Barack Obama was also on the campaign trail for Democrats Friday. He took a swipe at President Trump on the birthright citizenship issue.
A president doesn't get to decide on his own who's an American citizen and who's not.
After a stop in Miami, former President Obama moved on to a rally in Georgia.
Go get him, Donald!
Meanwhile, President Trump is expected to hold 7 more rallies between now and Election Day. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
And President Trump will be making his 4th visit to Montana tomorrow, November 3rd. You can watch that rally on our website, ktvq.com.
And full coverage of that rally will be available on your weekend evening news. Now, there's a lot at stake as voters get ready to head to the polls.
The midterm election will be the subject of Face the Nation this Sunday morning at 8:30 on Q2. I talked to CBS News' John Dickerson earlier today about the president's return to Montana. President Trump will be making his 4th visit to Montana tomorrow. It's the most times a sitting president has ever come to our state. Do you think that his rallies are going to have much of an impact on what happens at the polls?
Well, one of the great questions we're looking forward to figuring out on Tuesday night, you know, it seems to be that it looks like he's taking a sort of a Senate view of the push here to the end. And so he has a better chance at affecting the Senate map in terms of affecting an entire state and turning out his core voters in different parts of the state. A state like Montana is closer to the Donald Trump message than a lot of these congressional districts that are up for grabs and that are battlegrounds in the question of whether the Democrats are going to be able to retake the House. And so some of the things that he's saying, and particularly the real focus on immigration at the end and the ways in which he's focusing on immigration might not appeal to the suburban voters in those battleground House districts, but might be a message that's more of a fit with the electorate he wants to turn out in a place like Montana.
And again, we'll have the president's rally on ktvq.com starting at 12:30 tomorrow.
Some 300 people packed a ballroom at the Baxter Hotel in downtown Bozeman Friday night to cheer on Senator Tester and Democratic U.S. House candidate Kathleen Williams.
Tester, Williams, and other Democratic officials and candidates have been holding rallies across the state. They've got several more stops planned in coming days. Tester brought a trio of local women onto the stage tonight to talk about how the Affordable Care Act, often referred to as Obamacare, has helped them afford and keep vital health coverage.
A former Billings Clinic nurse who admitted stealing pain-killing drugs from patients for his own use avoids prison but will serve probation for his crimes. 33-year-old Donald Mills was sentenced today in federal court. He will serve 5 years probation with 6 months in home confinement. Mills pleaded guilty in May to stealing fentanyl from patients and replacing it with saline. He told investigators he was trying to self-medicate neck pain and anxiety. Now, the Drug Enforcement Administration discovered Mills stole the drug from up to 300 patients at the hospital.
Chronic wasting disease samples from a white-tailed buck and a mule doe taken from Carbon and Liberty counties have come back suspect. That's according to Fish, Wildlife and Parks. Colorado State University lab is now running a confirmation test with results expected back sometime next week. The deer in Carbon County was harvested northeast of Joliet in a current CWD positive area, but the one in Liberty County was harvested outside the current CWD positive area. And this year's priority surveillance area, the CWD positive area, now does include all of Liberty County. FWP has notified the hunters who've submitted those suspect samples. And even though the samples are only considered suspect, FWP says they are moving forward as if both those deer will ultimately test positive.
Now switching gears to the weather from Bob McGuire, joining us now with a bit of a heads up for Election Day. It's 4 days out, but...
Well, as you know, sometimes the weather can change the voter turnout.
Yes.
And so what do we got coming? We got something coming. Let me show it to you. Remember that big upper level low pressure cell we talked about in eastern Montana today? There it is. It's produced a lot of rain and snow across Montana today. Now by Saturday, that's going to go into the central plains. Not much of an issue for Billings, but we will see some more snow, and that's being drawn into that low pressure cell up over British Columbia in towards Montana. Now by the time Sunday gets here, that low continues to stay down in the south, but look at all the moisture moving into western Montana. And then by the time Tuesday gets here it is Election Day, that snow moves into the Billings area. And then by the time elections are over with, and then to Wednesday, look at all the snow across the state. How much snow are we talking about? Well, the latest computer model says, the global one says 7 inches by the time Wednesday gets here. That's kind of a stretch, but we'll see if that actually comes true. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bob.
From pizza to people, Pie Guys in West Billings keeps its focus local. Now, as we found out today, that focus is starting to make a big difference in the lives of those in need.
Now, pizza is what Evan Jota does best. He's been in the industry since he was 16 years old. Opened his own place, Pie Guys, 6 years ago. But it's not just great pizza that sets Pie Guys apart. In recent months, Jota's upped the community focus.
He started Pie It Forward in June after he lost a friend and wanted to find a way to support his family in the wake of that tragedy. Pie Guys takes 1 day a month to raise funds to benefit a worthy local cause. As Jota tells us, the event has already found a foothold in the community, and it is worth every bit of effort.
At the end of the night, when we got done, after just getting rocked all day and all night, we all felt really good about it too. It was something that I'd never really seen before, and so after that we decided to kind of just keep it going. There's a lot of great charities out there, but this is a way we can actually just get it in the hands of people who could just really, benefit directly from it. A few of my employees they've worked off the clock and donated their time to do that so that I don't have to take their labor out.
Now, since June, the Pie It Forward promotion has raised and donated more than $10,000.
And this Sunday, Pie Guys will donate 100% of its profits to the Haley Hudson-Byler Memorial Scholarship Fund. You can go to ktvq.com for more details on that event. Well, 2 nights ago, a lot of kids in Billings celebrated Halloween, and tonight they had a chance to give their candy to those serving the country. Brewer Dental Center collected candy for Operation Gratitude.
The national campaign gives care packages to military members serving overseas, veterans, and first responders. Children receive $1 for each pound of candy and could also write messages to the troops.
We kind of want to give them an idea of thanking those who serve, and so that's kind of the point today of what we are doing here. Not only are we helping them with reducing cavities, but we're also helping them know that there are people who are fighting for them every day, and so that's kind of our way of giving back.
Now, Brewer Dental Center's goal is to collect some 500 pounds of candy. That buyback will keep going next week.
Coming up, it's the last weekend to visit Yellowstone, but vacationing outside the park may just be beginning.
And a little later in sports, Scott shows us if West and Senior escape tonight's playoff football openers with a trip to the semifinals on the line.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott Green. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.